And yet again, I wake up to terrible news, bad news, more of the same, which is what was already predicted to happen. Another small business going under, crashing, collapsing, burning, and in a last move of desperation, coming and asking me, Kevin, what can I do to salvage my business? What can I do to keep from going out of business, going bankrupt, and having to lay off all of my employees and staff? Please help. My immediate reaction, I always want to help. I want to try to help people. I want to try to see people, or at least provide them with the tools and the information and the education and the opportunities to succeed. But I also have to be 100% honest and 100% real. And it's that if you're asking now, it's literally like trying to figure out how to add more life rafts on the Titanic after it's already hit the iceberg. It's too late. The ship's going down. There's nothing you can do about that. The best that you can do is hopefully find yourself a door to float on and be rescued and live to tell about it. But here we are yet again, and this is sad but true. It's going to be a consistent theme that's happening more and more here frequently. And unfortunately, some of you people watching this video are going to be in that blast radius, as it's almost going to feel as though you've been hit by a nuclear warhead, or this EMP strike just comes and blows out all your electronic communications. You are going to be hit so hard by the unemployment layoff notices, to then be followed by past due payments, delinquencies, overdue, overdrawn, NSF, eviction, foreclosure. It's going to be catastrophic, cataclysmic, record-breaking. Folks, we are on the brink of the biggest economic collapse that many of us alive have ever seen. With many people then, after having been hit by this disaster, by this breathtaking disaster, trying to figure out, what do I do now? How do I get prepared? The best way to get prepared is to be ready before it ever happens, okay? So, this, again, is a product of the economy, and businesses, for the most part, can no longer look to have a realistic chance of maintaining a viable operational status and producing sufficient revenue and income and ultimately profit to stay in business with a brick and mortar store alone. There will be some exceptions, but for the mass majority of employees, employment, business owners, entrepreneurs, small business owners, investors, angel investors, banks investing in these small businesses, if there's no online e-commerce presence, the ability to exponentially increase your earning opportunity, your earning potential, your customer base tenfold at the very least, then I hate to say it, but your days are numbered. How many days do you have left? How much time do you have left? That is to be determined. But for the most part, this would literally be like trying to drive a car, or a boat for that matter, with no fuel, or very little fuel left in the tank. So what do? There's a variety of things you can do. One of which being what I told you guys about in a previous video, which was a business owner being forward thinking, having the presence of mind to maintain and retain as much of their retained earnings as possible and not wind up burning through their resources trying to keep something alive that is sure to die, and moving to initiating terminations and layoffs, eliminating jobs, and shifting their business model online, but not just online, but also fully automated by taking advantage of SaaS and, different services, or I'm sorry, software as services, in addition to automation, AI, OpenAI, ChatGPT, Dolly, DID, virtual avatars, virtual employees, to then multiply their efficiency in business with minimal workforce and minimal overhead. Moving to an online business model, scrapping the brick and mortar, scrapping the overhead operating expense of lease payments and insurance, and also scrapping the inventory burden and moving to a print on demand, just in time, drop shipping business model. You see all these giant warehouses being built everywhere you look. They're not just Amazon fulfillment centers. These warehouses are actually being built to satisfy the economic transition into the 15-minute city. Whereas you'll no longer need, for instance, we'll use Starbucks as an example because Starbucks is everywhere. You'll no longer need a Starbucks or Chick-fil-A. Let's just say Chick-fil-A. You'll no longer need a Chick-fil-A every 2.5 miles, because with these 15-minute city designs and these plans being implemented, what they'll do is they'll have these warehouse fulfillment centers that have Starbucks, they have Chick-fil-A, they have Zaxby's, they have McDonald's, Taco Bell, Wendy's. They have them all inside these giant warehouses. And then orders are then merely placed online through an app, Grubhub, Uber Eats, Postmates, DoorDash, and then they no longer come from the restaurant that you used to see on the main thoroughfare on the boulevard, in front of Mall of Georgia or wherever, Lenox Mall or whatever, North Point, Perimeter, Avalon. Nope. They'll come out of these warehouses, these, plain Jane looking warehouses that inside house these restaurant style fulfillment centers that will then be shipped. And maybe the gig workers will still have opportunities, but who knows? Maybe they'll incorporate drone delivery at that point. But at the end of the day, this is the direction that business is going. Automation, advancements in technology and AI and automation are picking up steam very rapidly, very quickly. And much like I told you guys before, with the mass layoffs occurring, as once one business makes the announcement, like Amazon makes the announcement that they're going to lay off 10,000, 18,000, 20,000 employees, then you'll start seeing the floodgates open, because nobody wanted to be the first one. Then Walmart makes announcements, they're closing stores, underperforming stores are closing, fulfillment centers are closing. Then you've got Nvidia, you got Google, you got Twitter, you got all these companies laying people off left and right. Why? Because somebody took that first step and everybody else is waiting. So what'll happen is, with these businesses, they're seeing the same thing happen with opportunities becoming available in technology, because it's the equal and opposite reaction. Once OpenAI, ChatGPT was announced and made available to the masses, then everyone else who was working on similar technology needed to rush to reveal theirs so that they weren't left behind. They didn't want to be excluded from having opportunities of picking up on market share, but it's just the equal and opposite. It's the equal and opposite. Nobody wanted to be the first to initiate the layoffs and announce the layoffs, but they knew they had to because financially they couldn't support the burden any longer with the changes in the economy, the rise of interest rates, the pullback in some consumer spending through in anticipation of this recession. But now that was being shy and timid and coy. Now, oh wow, AI and automation, open AI, chat GPT is out. All right, we need to hurry up and get ours out so people are aware because, everybody wants to get a piece of this pie. And this is just going to further, one, provoke more job cuts, more layoffs because those announcements have been made, and then provoke more technology and more advancements and more innovation because those announcements have been made. And if you're in a business that isn't already connected and or adamantly, diligently preparing and working towards a plan of being connected, and you're relying on brick and mortar, foot traffic, physical transactions and conducting business in what was considered normal for many years, many decades, many generations, if that's your only current business plan and business model, then your days are numbered. So what we have to do is we have to look back on the same conversation, the same situation. And let's just say I woke up this morning and I received a phone call and it says, hey, my business is doing fine, but I'm also paying attention to the trends in the economy. I'm seeing a reduction of foot traffic with not just my business, but where my business is located. The news headlines are stating that we are on track for a deep recession, intense job loss of now potentially almost 8% unemployment, millions and millions and millions of people out of jobs, and whatever money that they do have is going to be very, very cautiously released into the economy until further notice. How do I get prepared? I have time, but I'm seeing what's happening. I'm reading the writing on the wall. I'm speaking to other businesses. I'm speaking to financial advisors. I'm speaking to the banks. I'm speaking to investors. I'm speaking to consumers. I'm speaking to think tank groups. There's so many groups out there that can actually help businesses gain a better understanding and project because of what is happening more so outside of their hyper local market, and really getting a much better feel for the consumer in general here in America is going to probably be much more important than just your local market, especially here, especially where I am, Northwest Florida, in a tourist town. You're going to want to know more about the consumer that doesn't live here than does. Because if the consumer that doesn't live here is feeling the pain and the pressure and the downward pressure and the burden of this economy and this struggling job market and higher interest rates by the Fed and shaky investments in their stock portfolios and worry and concern, they may not be traveling and engaging in, the tourist economy, the tourism economy like they once were, which would have a huge impact on your business. With that being said, businesses need to be looking at their bottom lines. They need to be looking at their projections. They need to be looking at what does it take for me to stay in business as far as annual sales, annual profit, average profit margin, average transaction per customer, average amount of customers, and then from there, drilling down on that information and then saying, all right, now how do I improve on this? How do I increase these numbers so that one, we can maintain our operation level, but two, earn increased profits, revenues, and start generating some retained earnings. Because we don't want to just make it. We want to kill it. We want to crush it. I think there's something in my drink. I don't know. But so the simple and easiest way to do that is to align with the technology. And also, I think businesses need to, they are, but I'm speaking to small business owners that typically are like smaller operations. Some of them may be just like a one-man show or maybe have a few employees, but investing not only in yourself, but investing in what makes money. And it may not necessarily be exactly what's tied into your business. But you want to do is you want to take your business's portfolio, much like you would your personal portfolio, and use the vehicles that are available through investment opportunities to solidify your savings and your future. Folks, if you're sitting here worrying about the potential implications to your IRA and 401k from what we're seeing happening, again, diversity, security, and cash flow. Remember, my 3 pillars. I'm going to link down in the description, Genesis Gold Group. Go check them out. 1-800-200-4653, 1-800-200-GOLD, and get your free definitive gold analysis, your definitive gold guide. Because I've diversified my portfolio, I want to make sure that I am never putting all my eggs in one basket, but also positioning myself to maximize on every opportunity that presents itself, especially now with the shakiness of the economy and the uncertainty of inflation, how high it will go, unemployment, recession, the future of the dollar, de-dollarization, central bank digital currency, CBDC, XRP, Ripple, Bitcoin, crypto. Check them out. GenesisGoldGroup.com. Got a lot of helpful information on their website, a lot of useful, valuable knowledge. Even if you don't take advantage of it, at least check it out and educate yourself and know what options are available before it's too late. But again, as a business, I'm looking at how can I minimize costs, maximize revenue, ultimately profit. And in order to do that, you're going to have to make cuts. You're going to have to. Where are those cuts? That's going to be totally up to you. Where can you afford to make those cuts? You don't want to make cuts that then drastically hurt your revenue and your earning potential either. But you're going to have to make some cuts. You're going to have to follow the 5 basic principles I tell you about financial freedom, which is earn more money, spend less than you make, budget wisely. I can't keep doing this, otherwise I'm going to drop the microphone. Eliminate high interest debt, high interest credit card debt, save and invest. All right, I pulled it off. But the businesses are going to have to execute on these if they want to stay in business. We're going to see a point here soon where more than likely credit's going to dry up. The banks are going to pull back. There's going to be a credit freeze. Interest rates are going to be too high to borrow at that. But businesses are going to have to make cuts. They're going to have to pull back. And in addition to that, they're going to have to figure out how to become more efficient, more lucrative, more profitable, increase their sales, increase their revenue, increase their profits, while also having made cuts. But the beauty of it is that today, 2023, moving on to 2024, and potentially, here on out, it has become easier than ever before to do that because of OpenAI and ChatGPT and other software as a service options that will become available in the next few weeks, months, and days for that matter. But then you got to think, If you're not a business owner, then you're extremely vulnerable. Extremely vulnerable. And the last thing that I would want to do is find myself in a situation in 2023 unemployed, banking on unemployment insurance or banking on some form of government aid or government handout that won't be there, that will only buy you a little bit of time to hold you over, knowing that probably before that point in time you're already living paycheck to paycheck, one paycheck away from being homeless. You make just enough money to be broke. So it just goes back to that same basic concept. Invest in what makes money. Where can you put your money? Where can you put your time, and or both, today that will bring you back greater returns each and every day, day after day, week after week, month after month, to put yourself in the position of earning more money and then making sure that you take that money and you use it wisely to eliminate debts and then save and invest. Further investing on what? What makes money. It's just that simple. It's just that easy. It doesn't have to be complex. It doesn't have to be complicated. But it does have to work, and you do have to do it. And unfortunately, if you don't, you may find yourself in a situation where you're saying, okay, I got poo slinging all over the place because the S has hit the F, and I got nowhere to go. I got nowhere to turn. And my only option now is to beg, plead, become homeless, poor, destitute, or just hope and pray for a miracle. But folks, I'll be 100% honest with you, 100% real with you. Hope is not a plan. Hope is not a strategy. And a goal is nothing more than a dream or a wish without a plan of actionable steps that you actually take action doing as you proceed to execute, to accomplish said goal. And the goal doesn't have to be astronomical. The goal can be something as simple as, I want to earn an additional $50 a week. I want to save an additional $100 a month. I want to start generating my own additional income stream on the side. Something as simple as that. Like I told you, if you can make $1 on your own without an employer paying you a paycheck, you can make $2. And then you can continuously work to exponentially increase and multiply those efforts and those returns, far exceeding and outweighing any job you could ever really be hired on to do. Granted, there are some jobs out there, careers that are going to pay astronomical sums of money, compensation packages well into the 6-7 figures. But for the most part, the people watching my channel, these videos, probably don't fall into that category. And even if they did, and even if they do, the same basic principles apply. Make more money, spend less than you make, budget, eliminate high interest debt, save and invest. And as you're investing, invest in what makes money. Doesn't matter if you are worth $1 or if you're worth $100 million, the same rules apply. I fear for those who either don't hear this message, ignore this message, or just are almost too afraid to actually do something now while they can before it's too late, because there's a wave coming, okay? And I'm going to be 100% honest with you, that wave is a tidal wave. And it's going to be much like that analogy and explanation I gave you about the rising floodwaters of inflation wiping out the lower income folks on the first floor of the townhome condo community. And the higher up, the higher the floor you live on, the safer you'll be. But there's a wave coming, and this wave is going to wipe out so many. It's going to wipe out so many financially. They're in an economic situation that is shaky at best, holding on by strings. skin of their teeth, and that wave is going to wipe them out. Okay. But at the same time, that wave is going to create so much new wealth. It's going to be unbelievable, but it's only going to create that wealth for those who have put themselves in a position to realize and capitalize on that. And inversely, it's only going to wipe out those people who put themselves in a position to be wiped out. This isn't about how much money you make now. It's about how much money you're going to make tomorrow. It's about how much less money you're going to spend. It's about how much more money you're going to save. It's about how you're going to invest and secure your future, create these different levels of diversity. That's what it's about. It's about what businesses you're going to build, what technology you're going to use, what cryptocurrencies you're going to be involved with, what real estate you're going to be involved with, what investments you're going to be involved with to gain these ROIs, what stocks you're going to be purchasing. But if you don't have the knowledge and the education and or don't take action, those are strikes 2 and 3 right there. So, folks, I only say this. I don't make these videos to scare you. I'm just being 100% honest, being real, sharing with you what's going on, what I see, what's happening, my predictions. Take it for what it's worth. But if it were me, I'll tell you what I would do, because I'm actually doing it. I would double down on what works. I would continuously do all I can to increase my earning power and reduce my costs and limit my expenses and reduce my overhead. And I would be diversifying my portfolio in a way that if there were some form of reduction, slow period, down period, lull, major economic event, I wouldn't be wiped out. I'd still be able to pivot. I'd still have a plan B, plan C, plan D, and also be in a position where if the opposite happens and there's an uptick, I'm diverse in my portfolio so that at least I don't have to sit by on the sidelines and watch everyone else win. I'm going to win too, because I was involved as well. Involved in different investment ideas and opportunities and making things happen, building businesses, utilizing this technology, investing, buying cash flow producing assets, not selling any of my cash flow producing assets, connecting, building a network, a team, a community of other people working towards the same goals, accomplishing the same goals, connecting and further building out my brand, my online presence in a variety of different ways, multiplying my income streams so that I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket, and just working with others to help them do the same. Rising tides lift all ships, folks. Rising tides lift all ships. That's where we're at. I don't think it's so much the big threat and the big fear of Walmart closing down all their stores, although they are closing down quite a few underperforming stores. Those numbers climb by the day. Target just made a recent shocking announcement about what they're doing to align and compete with Amazon and Walmart in their e-commerce online business. The writing's on the wall, folks. But at the same time, the jobs market is going to continuously become more of a struggle and a challenge. If you don't know, if you're not aware, the numbers, the CPI report numbers, the unemployment, the employment, the jobs reports that actually hit the news, mainstream MSN, with the media reports are not accurate. And at the end of the day, people are working because they're working more than one job, just trying to keep their heads above water, when people really need to be working on building something for themselves on the side, in addition to that can produce exponentially more in return than they would ever get for the hours that they spend clocking in and out of these jobs. That's what they need to do before the hammer drops, before that last nail in the coffin is nailed in. That's what they need to do. Because what they don't know is that the business owners, the employers, the companies, the CEOs, the bosses, the ones that are analyzing their financial reports, they're looking at it like either things are not good right now and all these people got to go, or things are probably going to be worse in the future and all these people got to go. And then at that point, what are you going to do? Comment below and let me know what you're going to do. The answer's not going to be, oh, well, go be a truck driver. No, because the freight ain't moving like that. The commerce ain't moving like that. And, they got self-driving trucks now. Thanks, Elon. But the economy, business, technology is driving the economy. Technology is driving business. Technology is going to be driving jobs. Granted, we got a little bit of influence from Russia, China, current administration, but at the end of the day, technology is now taking the wheel, for lack of better words, no pun intended. And the last thing that I would want to do is be in a situation where technology takes my job and takes away my ability to earn income.